What can we talk about these days? It's really difficult. Comedians can't tell jokes, politicians can't tell the truth, religious leaders, in particular Christian leaders, are being persecuted. State-sponsored journalists only speak about the things that their paymasters want them to say, and governments have gone stark raving mad. So the conversation is limited to the environment, climate change, gender pronouns, which I can only count to 2, but I believe are multiplying faster than an octopus's tentacles. If you really want to shut someone up, you can call them a sex addict or an Islamophobe, and that will bring them down immediately. If you speak about these issues, you will get lauded. NEWS, news by the way, stands for North, East, West, and South. This means everything that is happening around the globe needs to be reported. But news in mainstream media is restricted to sucking up to those government bodies that give grants to the different channels. And this is what amazes me. Why is it that subjects on which the mainstream media speaks about eventually turn out to be a lie? For instance, mainstream media reported that there should be 9,000 cases of the Delta variant by this time in Ontario. Truth or dare? And why is it that the news reported by this channel, aka Rebel News, sooner or later comes out as the truth? The Prime Minister says that he doesn't want to answer questions posed by Rebel News because they are not science-based. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, they are truth-based. The Prime Minister, who ducked out of Truth and Reconciliation Day, is now waffling over funding to First Nations Indigenous children. This is a man who said, "A Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian," and who loves using the same terminology over and over again as though reading from a script. Maybe he is, but fails to deliver. Meanwhile, Islamists get a free pass and money. On another note, our very own Premier Ford, although I'm no fan these days, said that immigrants should be productive and not go on the dole. He never mentioned race or religion. As an immigrant myself and a visible minority, I stand by what he said because it's the truth. Why do we presume religion and race and thus dilute the message and call it racist? Fact is that this country was created on Judeo-Christian values, which doesn't mean that other values are not welcome. No one is saying that diversity should not be acclaimed. But let's have a productive, diverse community. So why is it that when it's the other way around and you criticize anything about the downside of diversity, it becomes racism? My friends, racism is a very serious issue. It can't and should not be diluted with attacks based on truthful remarks. Ford was slammed for saying what he did. Self-proclaimed religious and community leaders stood up and said he must apologize. Apologize for what? Why presume racism when there is none? Why the victimhood and guilt factor? I know it's difficult to navigate through real news and fake news these days, but let's never forget that we are fighting for the very freedoms that your forefathers fought for. Let us stand for truth and freedoms together, and let's raise our flag to full mast. This is Raheel Raza for Rebel News. Don't forget to click or like www.rebelnews.com.